Hello, my dear students. Today we are going to learn about a famous speech. I have a dream. I have a dream is a public speech that was delivered by American civil rights activist Martin Luther King Jr. on August 28, 1963, in which he called for civil and economic rights and an end to racism in the United States. Delivered to an audience of over 250,000 supporters from the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., the speech was a defining moment of the civil rights movement and among the most iconic speeches in American history. According to U.S. Representative John Lewis, Dr. King had the power, the ability, and the capacity to transform those steps on the Lincoln Memorial into a monumental area that will forever be recognized. By speaking the way he did, he educated, inspired, informed not just the people there, but people throughout America and unborn generations. King described his dreams of freedom and equality arising from a land of slavery and hatred. John Meacham writes that, with a single phrase, Martin Luther King Jr. joined the Presidents Jefferson and Lincoln in the ranks of men who've shaped modern America. The speech was ranked the top American speech of the 20th century in a 1999 poll of scholars of public address. The ideas in the speech reflect King's social experiences of ethnic abuse, the mistreatment and exploitation of the black people. The speech draws upon appeals to America's myths as a nation founded to provide freedom and justice to all people, and then reinforces and transitions those secular mythologies by placing them within a spiritual context, by arguing that racial justice is also in accord with God's will. Thus, the speech provides redemption to America for its racial sins. King describes the promises made by America as a promissory note on which America has failed. He says that America has given the Negro people a bad check, but that we come to cash this check by marching in Washington, D.C. King's speech used words and ideas from his own speeches and other texts and referred extensively to the Bible. The speech was a success for the Kennedy administration, the government of the American President John F. Kennedy, and for the liberal civil rights groups that had planned it. It was considered a triumph of managed protest, and not one arrest related to the demonstration occurred. Kennedy had watched King's speech on television and had been very impressed. Afterwards, the civil rights leaders accepted an invitation to the White House to meet with President Kennedy. Kennedy felt the march bolstered the chances for his civil rights bill. In the wake of the speech and march, King was named Man of the Year by Time magazine for 1963, and in 1964, he was the youngest man ever awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. King's speech was one of the greatest factors which helped the black people to gain equal rights as their fellow white Americans. Now, let's analyze our main character. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929. He was an American Christian minister and activist who became the most visible spokesperson and leader in the civil rights movement from 1955 until his assassination in 1968. King is best known for advancing civil rights through nonviolence and civil disobedience, inspired by his Christian beliefs and the nonviolent activism of Mahatma Gandhi. As a child, he devoutly read the Bible and sang the hymns, a religious song or poem of praise to God. His father was a strict disciplinarian and was used to physically punish him and his brother, even for the slightest mistake. King had a sister too. In contrast to his father, King's grandmother was very kind and used to retell the stories from the Bible. Thus, King grew up from a religious background. In high school, King became known for his public speaking ability with a powerful voice. He proceeded to join the school's debate team. King continued to be most drawn to history and English and chose English and sociology to be his main subjects while at the school. King maintained an abundant vocabulary. King's inspirational leadership and his speeches helped to transform local protests into historically important events. His most significant contribution to the modern African American freedom struggle was to link black aspirations to widely shared democratic and Christian ideals. His strategy of emphasizing nonviolent protests and interracial cooperation enabled him to fight effectively against the Southern system of legalized racial segregation and discrimination. Although he was assassinated in 1968, his legacy moved on. The American government eventually brought new laws which stated that all minorities were equal. Now, take a look at the book. Make sure that you have read through the passage to gain a complete understanding of this lesson. In the second part of this video, you will be learning about the following points: prefixes, simple sentences, use of persuasive language in writing. The first paragraph, page 23, lines 1 to 10. Martin Luther King explains the situation that had existed at the time he made his famous speech. The white people were the masters of the country, while the black people were treated like slaves. The United States of America was a large country and it was divided into states. In the state of Mississippi, the black people experienced the highest form of racial discrimination. Martin Luther believed that one day that all such prejudices would end and the white and the black people would live happily together. He thought of a future where the black people would be judged on their actions and not on the color of their skin. The second paragraph, page 23, lines 11 to 26. Martin Luther believed that the governor of the state of Alabama would be able to change the situation for the black people. He envisioned a future where the black and white people would live in unity. They would face the joys and struggles of life together. By working together as brothers and sisters, they could turn the nation into a heaven of happiness and righteousness. The similes used in this paragraph show Martin's skill in quoting from the Bible to suit the audience and the situation. The third and fourth paragraphs, page 23, lines 27 to 44. The feeling of brotherhood among the black and white people will change the way of thinking of an entire nation. Martin calls for the black people from all the states of America to struggle for freedom and to give it to the future generations. The call for freedom was not just limited to the black people. Martin invited all the people from all walks of life to join the struggle. The Jews, the Protestants, the Catholics, and the Gentiles were also mentioned in his speech. Let us now explore the second part of our lesson. We are going to learn about prefixes. Prefixes are words added at the beginning of another word to change their meaning. Understanding prefixes helps to improve spelling because they can give a clue to the meaning of words. For example, trans means across, form means shape of something, transform, change the shape or the form of something. Some common prefixes are given below. A, ab, abs, meaning away from. Example, absent, abscond. 2. Add, ac, af, ag, and r, at, as, meaning to, toward. Example, adapt, adhere, annex, attract. Number 3. Anti, meaning before. Example, antecedent. Number 4. Anti, meaning against. Example, antifreeze, antisocial, antigravity. Number 5. Auto, meaning self. Example, autopilot. Number 6. Bi, bis, meaning to. Example, bicycle, biannual, biennial. Number 7. Circum, cir, meaning around. Example, circumscribe, circle. Number 8. Com, con, co, call, meaning with, together. Example, combine, contact, collect, co-worker. Number 9, the, meaning away from, down the opposite of undo. Example, depart, decline, derail. Number 10, dis, diff, de, meaning apart. Example, dislike, dishonest, distant. Now let us learn about simple sentences. A simple sentence is made up of one main clause. It is a complete sentence which can give sense on its own. It begins with a capital letter and ends with a full stop, a question mark, or an exclamation mark. For example, Clara roasted turkey for dinner. This sentence is a statement. Have you brought your book? This sentence is a question. Raise your sword. This sentence is an exclamation. One more point to be learned. The use of persuasive language in writing. The speech I Have a Dream from Martin Luther was written with language made to persuade people to support a particular idea or way of thinking. Martin uses this style of writing his speech to gain the support of the black people for his non-violent protest against the white people who mistreated the black people. Some of the features of persuasive writing are given below. Emphasize the important points through repetition. Developing logical links in the argument by linking sentences at the beginning of the paragraphs. Making the audience feel something, including feelings of anger, fear, joy, or shame. Using humor to make fun. Using arguments to counter opposite views. Some examples for persuasive writing are given below. The death penalty is a good deterrent for criminals. Beyond that, it is fair because the Bible supports an eye for an eye. We need to keep the death penalty on the books. Chippers are the crispiest, crunchiest, and most delicious brand of chips you will ever taste. Buy a bag today. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? I would suggest you to look for further sources of information and learn more of this great historical character. People like Martin Luther King stand as giant figures in the annals of human history due to their huge contributions to humanity. Learn to emulate their characters and become an active personality that can change the world. I hope that you have enjoyed watching this video. Thanks for watching.